how are you getting precision around the 4 to 5 business drivers inside of your business in the next 3 to 6 months? Like process, people, and partnership. Those are the foundations that we made our processes more automated, more efficient, and we increased business partnership to also the strategy side.
Okay, so yeah, do you just want to hop in and just give me, an introduction about yourself, and Fresh FP&A?
Yeah, so Chris Ortega, CEO of Fresh FP&A. At Fresh FP&A, we help businesses transform and scale their finance organization. And I've been in accounting, finance, FP&A, and financial leadership for over 17 plus years, primarily in high growth, SaaS, startup, scale up to enterprise level businesses. And really, really excited to be part of this conversation.
Awesome, awesome. So, you're talking about, your background in FP&A. Can you kind of give me an idea of, what it maybe looked like 5, 10 years ago and what it looks like today?
Yeah, FP&A is different. It has evolved amongst a lot of other things in finance. I think traditionally, when you think of FP&A, you think of financial planning and analysis, very quantitative heavy, big into data analytics, data mining. As you can just tell from the word, it's very quantitative. And I think when FP&A first came in, you had accounting and you had the CFO, but you didn't have this in between. You didn't have this analytical function that's doing the data analysis, looking at the insights, look at the budget, the actual variance. So I think that's how it spawned.
Hmm.
But FP&A has hugely evolved. And when I think about my business, Fresh FP&A, FP&A doesn't mean financial planning analysis to me. FP&A means to me financial partnership and advising. I think that's really the value add. When you look at the prevalence of technology and you look how technology has advanced so fast in the last 5 to 10 years, really businesses are looking for that finance partner. They're looking for that advising shit. They're looking for that partnership. The planning and analysis, you can have technologies do that a lot faster than your people are. You want to position them in the financial planning and analysis. That's really, I think, the legacy of it. You
Hmm.
want to have your people on the financial partnership and advising side of the business.
Yeah, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And it kind of segues into my next question. So, as you're saying, they're in that like more advisory space and they shouldn't be doing these
Yeah.
transactional tasks. I think a lot of concern right now for the C-suite in general, right, is where we're going to go in the future, especially with a lot of economic uncertainties and pressures coming down from boardrooms. So how can CFOs or even, maybe VPs of finance really lean in on FP&A right now, and help, use them as a strategic tool?
Yeah, as you mentioned, there's a lot of macro factors going on right now. You got the economy, you've got, the global recession that potentially happened. You got things going on in Europe, you still have the war in Russia. There's a countless, and being a CFO myself, like looking at the suite of different macro factors, right? The best way that I think FP&A can help leverage that is first off, you're not going to get any of your plans right. I think that's one fallacy that I see a lot of CFOs that go deep into planning, go deep in analysis in the next 6, 8 to 12 months. You should not be focusing on precision on any of those plans. It's naturally going to be wrong. I think the second thing is in working with FP&A, building more agile modeling into your business planning, right? Like being able to quickly make pivot or persevere conversations pretty quickly, I think is a superpower of CFOs of the future. And I think the third one where they can really leverage the partnership with FP&A is really getting in tune with the business, getting to that partnership side of the financial partnership inside the business, right? I think too many times in finance, and I've done this myself and had to learn to come to my business partners with a way of how can I understand their business? How can I support them? And how can we turn pain into productivity? I think that's really, really probably the 3 key areas that CFOs can partner with FP&A to really navigate the continued uncertainty and challenge in the next 6, 8, 12 months going forward.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And so I would also like to know, how can other business, unit leaders lean in on FP&A? So there's really like that cross-functional touch point from the finance function.
Yeah, and to me, the FP&A function, as I mentioned before, this is like the part, like we need to be inside the business, right?
Yeah.
I know a lot of people build their FP&A function externally, and then the FP&A people go work with the business. I
Mhm.
think it needs to be more of a give and take and meeting the business where they are, right? Too many times you see in finance organizations we're giving our budgets, we're giving our forecasts, we're asking for our business partners to fill out some Excel or some other file, right? we're not going to go engage with the business. And I
Yeah.
think this gets to like what I think is a primary role of the CFO. And it needs to bring clarity for operations. Like that's the CFO of the future, right? It's, yeah, you're the chief financial officer, but one of the most important tasks that you're bringing to operations is that clarity. And
Mhm.
for us to be able to be positioned to bring that clarity, we got to go in the business. We got to partner with them. We got to understand the risk. We got to understand the challenges. We got to understand the opportunities. So for me, anybody that it doesn't matter what industry you're in, what space that you are, what stage of business that you are, leveraging that partner side with finance inside the business to help support, building that trust, building that language, helping to navigate. It's a huge opportunity to continue to make sense and navigate the uncertainty and challenge that we see.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. And so to kind of really dial down, so we look at accounting, especially, from our perspective, we focus specifically on accounts payable, but accounting is one of those back office tasks that a lot of companies or SaaS companies are coming into because automation is such a clear need in those spaces, right? And we're looking backwards in accounting, whereas FP&A is looking forward. So how can we get these two departments to really work together to drive overall business goals?
Yeah, and I think this is where like the finance organization, it starts with the CFO down. I think a lot of finance organizations in working in a lot of different high growth businesses, and also in my fractional CFO work that I do at Fresh FP&A, you see this time and time again where you've got both of those functions like separated, right?
Yeah,
You've got accounting passing the baton to FP&A. The best way that you can have is have the entire finance organization connect the dots, right?
yeah,
When I led finance organizations, we maybe necessarily had separated in the responsibilities, but we always got to see the bigger picture, right? Like we had tactical operations, which was your AP, your collections, your AR, your month end close, kind of like a lot of that tactical operation. But we also carried them through to initiative on process excellence, which we made sure we made our processes more automated, more efficient, and we increased business partnership to also the strategy side. So I think like making it a very siloed organization where accounting just does the month end close and typically accounting just answers the business question of what did we say we're going to do. FP&A gets it to say, okay, what did we say we're going to do? What are we going and then what are we going to do about it? Right? Like
yeah.
those are the key questions. And as you can have both of those functions work imperiously together, but also have them laser focused on the value of what they're creating throughout the process, that's where you make it more creative. Because a lot of times, some of my strongest FP&A people that I built came from the accounting function. I mean, me myself, I started my career in public and corporate accounting. So I did, 6 or 7 years, did the whole CPA track, and it was really valuable in learning that foundation level of accounting, but also bringing them along the journey. That's where I think finance organizations of the future that make that less about a baton being passed off and more about how we can continuously run together. That is where you have the most success.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. You've mentioned a couple times, I'd like to expound upon it a little bit. Technology and automating tasks and the importance of not only automation to create more right time for valuable work, but also to create that very like holistic view of what's going on. How do you see technology really shaping FP&A?
Yeah, I mean, this is the big one. When you look at some of the recent entries in the FP&A space, Pigment being one of those, they recently just closed there is like FP&A solutions is at the board level conversation now, right? But for CFOs and VPs of finance, they typically go to the platforms and technology thinking that's going to solve all their business problems. That's actually the wrong approach to take,
Right.
right? Technology is meant to be a scaling pillar for a finance organization,
Mhm.
right? Like process, people, and partnership. Those are the foundations that you need to build, right? So, in building high performance organizations, finance organizations, as well as consulting a lot of different organizations on the financial transformational journey, that's where you want to start. You want to get the right people in the right seat, doing the right work that has the right business partnerships that you've built. Then once you have that foundation established, now you can go scale that foundation by getting best in class platforms. But traditionally, I've seen it time and time again, and I've been a proponent of this in Technology is not meant to solve all the business problems.
Right.
You see it time and time again. It is meant to amplify, it is meant to scale, and it's meant to put the people that you have in the right position to have the biggest value add inside the business. That is really the goal of scaling platforms inside of a modern finance organization.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. That's a beautiful answer. So I think just the last, you dropped so many gems. Are there any just key takeaways that you want to give that are top of mind?
Yeah, as people are rounding up their budgets, I know we're getting into late in Q4. As you're thinking about 2023 and even further along, there's three things that I want CFOs, VPs of finance, and finance leaders to be thinking about. The first one is, how do you get in tune with your direct and indirect people side of your organization? The office of the CFO, we had a huge opportunity to be culture carriers and really build a dynamic company culture. The second thing I think people need to be thinking about is, how are you navigating in the 3 month and 6 month increments of as this continued challenge that we go into, right? Long range planning right now, there's not going to be a lot of value add in doing budgeted rolling forecasts and plans that are 12, 18 months out. How are you getting precision around the 4 to 5 business drivers inside of your business in the next 3 to 6 months? How are you incorporating this agile forecasting and planning model inside of your organization? And the third one that I think the crystal ball that I would look for CFOs if they're thinking about the future in 2023 is, how are we continue to change that legacy and that value proposition that we're bringing inside organizations? The appetite and demand that businesses have for the office of the CFO and modern finance organizations is not going away. So how do we continue to be great storytellers? How do we continue to be great communicators? How do we continue to be great collaborators inside the business? These are themes that are going to continue, and finance organizations and CFOs of the future that are realizing that this is where we need to be positioned, then this is the value that we're bringing in the organizations. Those would be my three key takeaways that CFOs, VPs of finance, and finance professionals overall need to be thinking about for 2023.
I love that. I love that. And so my last question is, where can folks find you and get some more of this great information at?
Yeah, so I'm all over LinkedIn. Look me up. It's just Chris Ortega, or follow me on my company page at Fresh FP&A. Also, it's Fresh FP&A on all of my socials, FRESH FPA. If you want to learn more on how we can help support your organization around your financial transformation, how we can help build and shape your finance organization, check out more information at my website, www.freshfpa.com.
Perfect. Perfect.